welcome everybody. Today is Thursday, January 25th. Welcome to the 150th anniversary celebration subcommittee meeting. It is 6:02. We will officially call this meeting to order. First action item is the Pledge of Allegiance. So we're going to stand and say the pledge today.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, we'll do a quick roll call.
If we just go around so I can get everybody's names.
Tiffany Barnes,
Lauren Simmons.
Chris Jenkins.
Nicole Catron. Jamie Hardison. Natalie Eifert.
Renee Colbert. All right. Next, we will move on to the consent agenda. It is approving the minutes from our last meeting, which was so long ago, November 16th, 2023. The draft minutes are attached for your review. We have to go through the whole motion and all of that, even though Dan's not here. So be looking for a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve minutes. I'll second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes. Public comments, anything from anybody right now? All right, we'll move on for the items, actions, or discussion. So a couple things that we wanted to kind of chat through tonight. We're kind of starting to get everything wrapped up and kind of organized and whatnot, but one of the big topics was the name for the anniversary celebration. We don't really have like a good name for it. So wanted to brainstorm some ideas, maybe put it out there, come back to the next meeting with maybe some ideas that we can vote on and kind of go from there. So we don't have to go through this right now. We can marinate on it for a little bit and then maybe touch back to it again towards the end of the meeting, if you guys are good with that. We're just thinking that 150th celebration of Fredonia Fun Before the 4th is quite long. Maybe we can come up with something that's something a little more fun and shorter. That would be easier for advertising and all of that. So we'll come back to that maybe a little bit towards the end. The next item that we talked about that we were going to discuss tonight is the budget. So you guys each should have a copy of this, and I just kind of wanted to go through what we currently have solidified, what's not solidified, what we're kind of thinking along the lines, and we can adjust from there. I think I've got everything on here, but if there's something missing, please speak out and let me know. So we'll start at the top. We've got Whiskey Throttle is currently booked. They are going to do the late night slot. So I think it was from 7 till 11:30, 7:30 to 11:30, with the break for the fireworks. Their charge is $2,000. They are currently booked, so we are locked in with them. The next one is Pretty When She's Angry. So that's the one that we spoke about last time, that they're going to play the slot right before the main headliner. So from like a 5 to 6:30-ish time frame. I did reach out to her. She's available. I haven't booked it yet. I wanted to talk with everybody first before we actually book it. Her charge is $750 for that time frame. So if everybody's good with that, we can go, I can lock her in. And then the other one that's up in the air is Tim Job with the DJing. So we had kind of talked a little bit about it last time. If we wanted to have a DJ come during the day between, 1:30 and 5-ish, 6-ish, and just have music in the background. He was about $300 for a few hours. We also talked about, the village has the speaker system that we could also hook up an iPad or phone or whatever and create a playlist and kind of go that route and save that money if we wanted to do that. So I just wanted to circle back on this and see what everybody was thinking.
I know Tim is very good. I think that's like the crowd going, so that for $300, it seems like a good idea.
But would it be more of a nuisance with people being like bugging him and I want to hear this and that and
How long would he be playing for?
He just said a couple of hours.
Okay.
So we didn't determine, I didn't push it any further at this point to dig into how many hours he would be interested in playing, if we want him to play,
Mhm.
if we wanted to go that route.
Well,
It's
looks like-
wedding season too, so would he be, is he really gonna be available?
Well, he's the one that reached out to me that said
Okay.
he would be available,
Okay,
that he was
I just
interested
thought
in
of that
doing
with
it.
it wedding season.
I was saying, it looks like you're trying to fill like a 3 hour time frame.
Right,
Yeah. So for 3 hours, $300, $100 an hour, I mean, it's not bad.
Mm-mm.
Fill
Mm-mm.
that time.
Is he local? I mean, is he from?
In the subdivision.
yeah,
He used to
Behind the
do the
school.
football
Wow.
games.
Oh,
He used
okay.
to
Well, then I get, I mean, it would be
MC
nice
like
to
the-
support the,
local.
somebody
mhm.
local. I,
Mhm.
he used to do that in the basketball. And
okay. Well, and
Couple
you know,
school
he's
dances.
gotta be used to having people come and request songs. I mean, then
Badging
it becomes a little more interactive with the crowd if,
Right,
he
You
DJ'd
can
up
give
like
him
at
some.
Stony.
okay. Yeah, I would do it.
And I'm assuming he has some sort of social media presence, so if we book him, we can help with marketing the event too.
I would assume so, yes.
It'll pay off.
He's a Facebook friend.
All right, so we'll go ahead and book him then,
Yeah.
and then we'll shoot for like. Do we wanna do like? 2 to 4:30, 1:30 to 4:30? Cause the
Yeah,
capsule
to-
program wouldn't need to be more than a half hour. If that's a half hour, I'd be surprised.
Yeah,
So if he would maybe set up around 1:30 and then play till
2 to 5.
2 to 5.
Does he need to shut down a certain time before the first band plays so that they can set up, or is that,
I can check with,
I mean, that would be the only thing. is when
Tara.
You need him to get out of,
vacate so
yeah,
she
so she
can,
can set
yeah,
up.
maybe we do 2 to 4:30. Okay. Alright, I'll reach out to Tim and get him booked then for the day. The next one is the fireworks. So this one's been brought up a couple of times in our park and rec meetings as well. The gentleman with the fireworks, and Dan's kind of been the main point of contact with him. Wants to set up a call and kind of discuss the fireworks situation. He's got the date locked in. We just need to give him a budget number. And then they'll start prepping like the show and things like that. I have earmarked in here right now $12,000. That's about what they spent on the firemen's anniversary party. Doesn't mean we have to spend that. I want to say the last fun before the 4th that we did, it was about the $9,000 to $10,000 range for that fireworks show. So we just would need to come up with some kind of a budget number. I'd like to, we don't have to finalize it tonight, but I would like to make sure that we do get this finalized by the next meeting. So that we can make sure we give them enough time to create the show for us. Does anybody have any thoughts on that?
It's the only cost where I feel like if it was tied to a significant corporate sponsor, that'd be nice.
Mhm.
I mean, heck, the title of this event could be Fredonia 150 celebration sponsored by
Mhm.
such and such business. That's how important it is that we get that sponsor in order to help cover that cost.
For sure.
I don't know who that person is, but just throwing it out.
So that kind of leads to the next question that we can dig into again is how are we going to go about getting these sponsors for the event? I know we talked about working with the Friends of Fredonia group too,
Mhm.
to do this. Do we leave it up to you guys, to your team, to solicit all the donations and everything? Is there help from the committee members that we should be?
Do you have like a list of who you've hit up in the past, like last year?
I did. Let me look. I think I have it saved on my computer. We just did a new server upgrade with our emails with the village and I lost a lot of stuff.
Is this from the?
It's
Friends or-
basically a list of all businesses within the village.
What's his name? I forget who had up the fire celebration.
Trevor,
But he would have a list of, because that's the most recent,
for sure.
for all our contacts. And again, for this kind of celebration, we don't need to raise 100K or whatever they did.
Mhm.
So we would just be targeting specific key donors for this.
Do you have any budget from the Park and Rec department, or this is all being handled through fundraising funds?
Yes, so we
Okay.
have event dollars that have been allocated to be funneled through the Friends of Fredonia. So the Friends of Fredonia has $10,000 of seed money to assist in all of these kind of stuff of operations. So that's kind of like their starting ground, and then they can build on top of that.
Okay.
So I think maybe a good step is solidifying these plans and this budget. And then we have a separate meeting with Friends
Mhm.
group to say, okay, this is the event, this is kind of what it looks like. Do you have any other feedback? And then we can talk about their financial assistance and volunteers. I know I chatted with Chris today, actually, and he said, obviously, you guys are still getting your feet wet and all that
Mhm.
stuff. Your next meeting in February, he's going to talk about some other plans that you guys have that him and I are going to connect to them anyway. So that'll probably be a good time that we can bring this to him.
Fantastic.
Okay. All right, so then jumping back to the budget number, so we can kind of earmark the fireworks for now. The next is the bounce houses. So we talked about doing 3 bounce houses. I did look up what James May has there. The best rates around and pickup and delivery is really good. So they have a 27-foot slide combo, which I thought would be nice, little interactive. A zip course, which is a little bit bigger and kind of an obstacle course kind of deal. And then the primary castle, which is what I would consider for like the little
Mhm.
kids. So they're not getting trampled by
The big.
the big kids. So those were their prices for those. And those are available for the day of the anniversary. Next is food and beer and soda. So the fire department, and I'll reach out with Chief Weicker again here in the coming months, or in the next month or so. They were interested in doing food, so we'd love for them to just take it, and
Mhm.
that's their deal.
Mhm.
Beer and soda. This was Renee, where I was wondering maybe if you could pull some files or pull some numbers from what the baseball club did for their last Fun Before the 4th. If you guys had a rough idea of what you've spent.
I can look, yeah.
And that just kind of will give us,
But we were under prepared because we had to keep sending people to the store. And I think the thought was if we could get what the fire department did with the actual tappers and
Mhm.
everything would be probably easier or more efficient. But I
That's
can
where
see
we
what we
talked about
spent.
using the Friends volunteers. Because this would be like the Friends group's fundraising. So any dollars that were meant there will help recoup costs for that group.
Jamie, when you reach out to Trevor about the donations list, would you mind asking him for like a budget number of what they spent on beer?
Yep.
At least give an idea.
Yeah, I can look too.
Okay. All right, next is the tent rental. So the last Fun Before the 4th. There's too many F's in this town. The last Fun Before the 4th, we did a large tent rental. We also did the big stage, which we can tone that stage down a little bit. We did a lot of tables and chairs that I think were not really utilized in the tent area. I think if we bring picnic tables over, kind of like what we did, I think that would be more than enough and probably wouldn't need to do tables and chairs for everybody. But the total spend that we did for Fun Before the 4th was about $4,000.
That was 10.
Stage, chairs, table.
And don't forget the village is gonna have 10 new table, chair, bench things that we can utilize too.
That'll be great. So then we can hopefully bring that number down. Should probably reach out to like United Rentals or what's the other one? equipment rentals in West Bend
Mhm.
and start maybe getting a idea of actual costs from them. Does anybody want to take that one on?
What's the size that we need? Of a tent?
You know what? Let me see if I can get the last contract that we had from Dan for what that was, that invoice. Maybe he's got it saved in his personal email. But it was, I mean, it was quite large.
Mhm.
I want to say probably 20 by 80, maybe. Does that sound big enough?
Yeah.
I mean, it was big.
But by comparison, how big is the one that the fire that is used?
The same.
That size?
Mhm.
I know, like there's a motorcycle group that rents out tents too, because when I had Brandon's graduation, I want to say it was like $200. It was this huge tent that took up my entire backyard.
And they come and set up and
Yeah,
tear it
they
down and
came and set
everything.
it up like the night before, and then they came back the day after and took it all down. It was all included in the cost. It was super reasonable. Like I can ask if they still do that because my neighbor was part of it.
Sure.
But it was like I was like, wow, that's very reasonable. It was huge tent.
Would be good. And then we would just have to find a stage rental.
If you can get the details on what the size was and stuff, I can make some phone calls too.
Okay.
If we've got some.
Yeah, Dan's on vacation, but let me reach out to him when he's back.
Yep.
And see if he's got that contract for the last invoice.
And just, yeah, I can make some calls.
Okay. All right, just so that we don't lose sight of it, the time capsule. So we'll kind of figure that out as we get a little bit closer, what kind of receptacle we want it to be. When I was looking at them previously, they're around $100 or so, so not a big cost. Next one is the parade. The parade. Hopefully that does not cost us anything,
Fancy word.
right? It's a new way to spell it.
I
Don't you
like
know?
it.
Different kind of parade.
A free parade. So that it really shouldn't cost us anything. We have talked to, is he officially Chief Lee or Marshal Lee yet?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
End of March.
Okay. So we've talked to Officer Lee, he's willing to
That
come in.
was Sergeant Lee.
Sergeant Lee, okay, I'm sorry, Sergeant Lee, Sergeant Lee. We've talked to him as we start kind of getting a little bit closer in the next month or so. We'll invite him to the next meeting or a meeting when we're gonna talk about the parade and the route and then what we're needing from him and his staff, so. The train rental and rides, I know Carrie Cisco had mentioned talking to Eric Armstrong out of Port Washington. I know he was interested in doing it. I don't know if there's any cost to that, though. I would assume that we would have to pay him.
Get
Does
paid
anybody
sometime.
know him?
Yes,
By chance?
unfortunately. Excuse me.
I'm trying to jot down the name. So Carrie Cisco gave me contact with.
Eric Armstrong.
Is there something we should be concerned about?
Not when the camera's off.
Okay.
Good question. He did say for the parade, there's no charge or no cost. I know a lot of other parades do like an award for like the best decorated float or something. Is that like bragging rights at all? It's the,
We
if like
could,
does like
yeah.
first, second, third place, like
There's an award in the boardroom.
yeah.
Fun idea.
So then the theme would be Fredonia, right?
Mhm.
Commemorate Fredonia. Cool.
That is cool.
You might scare people away, or it might get more people to do floats. So
Could go either way.
Or put forth more effort than the morning of. Like, hey, let's have. That's right. We have a float today.
So what do you think that would be, You're talking right at the same time. For like an award, would we want to do like a little trophy, like the first annual
I think that would be fun. I mean,
or?
keep it cheap, but
Yeah.
something like even a certificate or something. Like, hey,
Yeah, that's
congrats,
true.
First place.
We could do those pretty,
Yeah.
any of them pretty inexpensively.
And that could just be announced as part of the program.
Mhm.
Okay. Next is a dunk tank. We had talked about, having a dunk tank and using that as a fundraiser. So I did do a little bit of research and I forget which one is in West Bend, whatever the rental company is in West Bend. Does have a dunk tank available for $225, so it's not terrible. And I really think we could market that. And
Who are we putting in the dunk tank?
Well, Dan.
Dan,
Yes.
Chris, us.
You find out real fast how many enemies you have here in this town. When they're forking over five.
You
dicks
do
at a
have to
time.
pick it up and take it back though. Or when we did it from West Bend, you do have to have somebody who will pick it up.
Pick it up and take
Take it back.
and deliver.
So then you also have to fill it, like, could the fire department fill it that day?
Fire department will fill it that day, and then the water will be nice and brisk.
Maybe we can get them to fill it the day before.
I mean, if you rent it for longer, you could warm your.
I did it for one fundraiser in West Bend and it sucked. It was the worst.
Maybe you can get some of the school
It was so big.
people,
Yeah.
coaches, principals, teachers.
Oh,
That's kind of
Our skill. She said she did, and all she's ever said since she did that was, like, her
Never
legs were so
It
sore by the
was
time she
super
was.
cold that day though, wasn't it?
I think so, but she was like from having to pop that,
Oh.
like her leg, it was leg day all day. for
Well,
her.
maybe if she just had like a short
Yeah,
Yeah.
shift, she might.
yeah, but yeah, that'd be fun.
I would do it.
You could probably talk me into it.
Why not?
It's for a good cause, that's right.
Yeah, so we would wanna, if we're gonna do that, we'd probably wanna reach out to, some people throughout the day and kind of put a plan together, what that looks like. Is it a half-hour shift or, what kind of timing would we wanna do, how much? And start reaching out to some.
If you,
Parents gonna show up, a little speedo and do it.
well, yeah, of course. If you did it like
Oh, man.
at the same time, like if you had Tim DJing, he
Depends
could
on what it
announce
is.
who's in the tank next,
Mhm.
Yeah.
he could, be like, and next up in the tank, and if you get enough people, you could just do like 15 minutes, only 15 minutes. You only got 15 minutes to,
For sure.
and it might get people like moving because if you keep the same person in too long,
Right.
then they're just like, he'll still be in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, having done it before, I would say an hour is too long. 15 minutes honestly might be too short. So a 30-minute shift.
Mhm.
Depending on how many people are lined up to get you.
People you get to.
I'm just like you are.
If I sat in there, my husband would want to dunk me. I know he would.
All the husbands will come out for us.
Mhm.
Kids,
Lining up.
Kids, yeah.
Yes, for sure.
neighbors.
Who's the superintendent? Dave Carls.
Yeah, that's great. You can get an hour.
He might take
He's
up the
too
whole
fast.
time.
Okay, so maybe we start thinking about that and reaching out to a few people and
So then you're gonna need somebody to work,
need a volunteer, be there to.
collect money and.
Mhm. Maybe we could talk, Alex Schrader into it. That would be a good one. All right. Anything else on the dunk tank that we want to chat about tonight? All right. Next is, I'm actually gonna skip the craft fair, because then we'll lead into that next. Portable mini golf. This is not one that we had for sure decided on, but it was one that we kind of floated around a little bit. There are a couple of people in the area that do rent out like a little miniature golf course, like a little 9-hole. That could be just something fun and added throughout the day. My only question on that is we do have a lot of stuff going on. So adding another thing, is that too much? So we've got the craft fair, we've got, Dan was gonna reach out to the Lions and see if they maybe wanted to do bingo. We've got the cornhole tournament. There is a 3-on-3 basketball tournament that's gonna be going on. If we
Is that
do
going on
on the basketball courts on the south
there?
side of the
Okay,
park.
So right there at the park.
What else do we have? I mean, food and beer, the dunk tank. Train rides possibly, is bounce houses, the music, is adding more stuff to it too much. As I'm thinking about things, that's a lot of
More volunteers.
stuff going on during the day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good, it gives kids stuff to do, but
Or what if you, yeah, because even if you offered it for like 2 hours or something, that might be not worth it then. You know what I mean?
yeah, to come in and set up for a couple hours
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, and then take
tear
out.
down
Does
again.
that cost include somebody running it? That mini golf?
No, that's just the rental fee.
I mean, you could table that idea and use it at a future event that you have.
Mhm.
Cause that's a really good idea.
I do think it'd be really fun for
Yeah.
one of the outdoor events that we have,
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
whatever it is. I think it's a cool thing to include.
Or if we end up doing a Christmas in July thing to raise the money for the lights, we could use that. For one of them,
Mhm.
save that.
Is there room?
This isn't, this is a Google view. This is not the one that you gave me. This
Yeah.
is a little bit different. So it's not a very good
like
view
it.
and I cut off a good chunk of it because I only wanted this area anyways. I don't even, oh, that's the houses. So here is where we put like the tent rental or the tent last time.
Mm-hmm.
This is really kind of a parking lot, and then that's the
Baseball.
baseball and the park and everything. So we really have essentially from like maybe here over. And then we throw in, let's just say 3 bounce houses. You know, you've got the train ride that would be going through there. We're gonna set up a dunk tank somewhere, probably up in this area.
Well, your dunk tank, you're gonna wanna keep close to the,
Yeah, the fire department to the actual building.
so they can.
The craft fair is gonna go there. Yeah, and then tent and stuff would be that area essentially.
Another idea without taking up a lot of space would be face painting.
Mhm.
I know that's pretty
Mhm.
popular amongst kids.
That's a cute idea.
I mean, I think the golf idea is great, but if there's, maybe there is too much going on and if you can use it at a different event and get more bang for your buck.
Might be better.
Mhm.
Are we all in agreement? We'll save that for another event.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else we need to add to the budget that I am not thinking of?
Do we have to have like a liquor license?
We will have to fill out well, the Friends or whoever sells beer would have to fill out a permit. It's a 1-day permit, not an actual license, but a permit.
So if the fire department is going to do the fire department doesn't wanna do the beer and soda, they just wanna do the food.
We want them to do just the food and
Okay.
have the Friends of
Oh, so they
Fredonia
get the
do
money.
the
Gotcha.
beer, so they do the bigger fundraiser. And I think it would work out better that way because the fire department
Mm-hmm.
can open up inside and do the food like they did for their party.
So the food, then you're not putting any money up front, the fire
No, the
department
fire
will be doing that,
department
and
would
they
handle
keep the
that.
profits off
Mhm.
it. Okay.
What about bathrooms?
So last, trying to remember, were there porta potties?
Yes.
or
Yes.
the- Okay.
Yes.
There was like a line of them along West. of the fire department, like. It was out, yeah.
But between but by the baseball diamond, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like, there's like a line of them. I didn't use them, but.
I don't either.
Should probably reach out to somebody to get a cost. I wonder if Eric's got a,
Our guy.
yeah.
Yeah, those little portable sinks that come with them.
Mhm.
Yes, there was a sink, wasn't there?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think you have to.
Can you imagine?
Advertising, that's what we're not thinking of. So that's my specialty.
It's a big one.
Yeah. So we did for the fun before the fourth. There wasn't a whole lot of printed goods. We did a handful of banners. It was a few $100s. I know you said your
Yeah, my
husband
husband
would
will
be
print the
willing to
banners.
print banners, so
Just,
that's
we
good.
just need to know what we want. If we have to design it, we can, but he'll definitely print them at work.
And I can get, I know you've got contacts with some designers. My neighbor across the street does graphic design. I've got a handful of designers at work, and I'm sure we can.
But he can easily.
We can
print
get
it,
somebody
yeah.
to design it for
He's,
us.
yeah, I'm out of practice. I don't do that anymore.
Mhm.
So.
And then printed flyers, which, is a very minimal cost, so we could
Mhm.
always manage that internally. And then social media presence. The other one that I would probably think about is putting an article or a spread in the newspaper, to try and get it out that way as well. I don't know if they would charge us for that, or if it'd just be a little
We'll
word.
do a press release and then the reporter would come and talk to us.
Okay. Any other advertising that we can,
Do you know the cost of those banners or whatever you were talking about?
They're free.
Oh, okay.
We got you.
donated?
They're donated.
Thank you.
They are donated.
We got our first sponsor.
Great start.
Stuff like that, he can, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll donate. I was thinking about a fundraiser. Lately, I've had a couple of people ask for headshots. That's something I could do as a fundraiser to offset some things. If we thought of a date, I could just set up a backdrop and I'll do it right here. If we thought about it a little further, like nobody wants a headshot in the winter. They
Mhm.
want it more like we're talking
When my
like
skin is tan?
yeah, yes, but
Mhm.
like May, even like in May, even or
Mhm.
something like that. I'd be willing to donate for
Sure.
think about something. I just have to think it out a little bit better. But people need them. I mean, they're paying people like $100 for headshots,
Mhm.
but we could do like, a donation. Please, donate and see what they give.
Sure.
Mhm.
Well, you can always do a recommended donation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you
Yeah.
probably wanna set a
Like a
minimum,
recommended, yeah.
Yeah.
and
Not
if
that they
go
give
from there.
$5 and.
Thanks.
Yeah. I had another thought too, and now it left my brain. Well, along with advertising, donations, that's what it was. So Chris had sent over, Dan, it was you, right? You sent that mug,
Oh, yeah. Yes.
so,
Souvenirs.
yeah,
Very good.
so something else that could be a fun. A fun souvenir, a little bit of advertising, and also maybe not exactly that, but a nice little fundraiser, keepsake. We sell, I don't know, I'm big on canned koozies, so I'd love to be able to sell canned koozies that day, and everybody wants a canned koozie, let's be real.
Me
For
too.
minimal cost, and the money can go back to Friends of Fredonia. We can sell maybe mugs like this ahead of time to help
Get
generate
money.
some funds as well, and whatever's left over, we have it for sale the day of. The fire department did their t-shirts, and that was amazing. I
I
think
went
they
to
did
that
huge.
commemorative book. So remember they did that
Mhm.
for the 100th celebration. It was just a book about Fredonia, a lot of ads and sponsors, pages too. It had like little history blurbs and stories and all that. So that's kind of pretty cool. Obviously, it'd take more time for somebody to compile that information and do it,
Right,
but I'm sure we could sell those pretty nice price.
Would you also, wristbands for like 21, checking the ID, would be an expense, wouldn't it?
We did not wristband.
we didn't, and not at Fun Before the Fourth, and they didn't at the firemen's either. It was all done at the bar.
Okay.
So if they would ID as needed.
So your volunteer servers might have to have server training or not?
I don't think so.
So it just needs to be one person who's driving the license.
Who hasn't? Okay.
Do you think, Michelle? Mister, the one that did those t-shirts for the mud run? Is that her name? You think she could put some ideas of like some of these kinds of things together?
Mhm, mhm.
Would you want to reach out to her and see what she could do?
Mhm.
All right. Anything else before we jump into the craft fair? All right. It's my favorite part. Okay, so I'll keep that one. So let's look at these. We can share a little bit here. So I worked with our village clerk to put together like a sign up sheet essentially, or like a contact form that says craft fair's this day, it's this amount, this is the time, please submit your application back to the village. We'll keep track of them at the village side. Money will then be turned over to the Friends of Fredonia for that. What we've thought about including is like a little map of the area. And then we'd also like to determine how many booths are available. And just kind of get that rolling and get that set up. I'd like to be able to try and start blasting this out here in the next month to try and make sure that we can get enough interested parties. So I pulled this from Google, just to kind of give a good idea of the space that we have to work with. I believe Dan said this was, I think in the last meeting, he said it was over 100 feet.
I was just gonna ask how big that.
Yeah, I think it was over 100 feet. I think I have it written somewhere in a previous meeting. So booths are, we would do a 10-foot by 10-foot booth. Obviously we need to probably give a little bit of space in between, but I just kind of want to map out what we're thinking, how many spaces do we want to go on both sides? Both sides of the road. So we have, if that's
Can we?
100 feet. Or that
Could
way.
you just do this way where they're back to back with each other? And then you just go in a circle if you want to hit all the booths.
Yeah.
However,
Mhm.
yeah.
Can we go on the opposite side of the street? Because aren't you getting into?
That's the mechanic and he could be pretty stingy.
Yeah, we're gonna need that extra space for parking. I mean, along the
Like,
road.
are people gonna be parking there?
I mean, we should try to preserve
You
as much
shouldn't let
parking as
people park
possible.
there.
If you're
I
having
mean,
a
you usually
craft
block it
fair,
off, don't you?
yeah.
Well, I would
Block
block
off.
off, yeah,
Around
I
the
would block
corner,
off
yeah.
here and not
Okay.
let
So
anybody,
that all be walkable.
yeah.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
We gotta I would keep this all open for the fire department, obviously, in case there's an emergency.
Mhm.
And honestly, last year it was super congested in that area when people were in line for food, so that area
Mhm.
would have to be open just because people were.
Yeah.
In that area.
And I know last year there was like a lot of kids lined up to do kickball and stuff at that
Mhm.
field. So wherever you're gonna be, are you going to be on the baseball field? You're backed up to it.
no, more on the road part.
Okay,
So if you've got so bad,
so you're actually on the road.
yeah, so
Okay.
that's the
I
playground.
mean, not that the, you know, can't
And
tell them
then-
to stop, but I know it was quite popular.
And then that would be the field, I think,
Okay.
I think. So if we would even, start maybe halfway down and work our way that way. So I could go, does Eric have a meter wheel? Do you know?
I don't know.
Ask him. Or does anybody have a good running axe that we can judge the distance on?
He does.
So. I mean, that would really put us at roughly probably 20 vendors. If we could get 20. I think that's where we would probably wanna, I don't wanna cap it, so to speak, but
Yeah. I mean,
target
and
20, and if we get more than that, then we
Yeah.
can kind of figure out where we need to go
Mhm.
with them, but.
Cause if we do have an excess, I can talk to the owner of that company and see if we can go to the edge of the building, like behind it. Cause that's actually
Sure.
like from the green back, it's all private property.
Mhm.
So I could talk to those owners if there's like a big craft fair turnout.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll get with Michelle, get a nice, something a little bit nicer here. And send
Michelle's
that
good.
over to her. She can pretty it up as she sees fit. And then we'll start blasting that out. So I did join a bunch of craft fair groups in Wisconsin, and people are crazy about craft fair. So,
I'm sure we all know a vendor just off the top of
Yeah.
our heads.
I have one across the street, so she said she's already ready. I talked to her
Yeah.
yesterday.
I know somebody too.
so, I can email you guys or put it in the link of the messenger group once we have everything situated, and then we can start sharing it out, and
How much was the stall?
$35. So I hope to share that out to you guys before our next meeting.
Right, so I got answers back from the chief on alcohol. So they spent 2,800. And they made about like 7, 8.
It's nice.
Just an alcohol sales.
Wow.
I remember that night. It was awful.
Well, you're probably the only one that remembers.
I wasn't doing it, but you guys all had fun.
I did. I remember I bought 3. And then my kid got stung by a bee, so I lost it. I was like, time to go.
Well, and I think when we did it, it was only in the evening, right?
Mhm.
The first, so
Yeah, it
I was gonna
was-
say, we did not make anywhere near that.
Yeah. Oh, what was the fun before the 4th? I think it was started at 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we were much smaller scale than that.
Yeah. And there wasn't nearly as many people.
Right.
Fun before the 4th as there was a fire department celebration, so. Okay. All right, so I think that was everything on my list. Does anybody else have anything they wanted to chat about or thinking of? Okay, so just to, I'm gonna go with my fingers. My hands are so dry. All right, so just to recap, I will reach out to Pretty When She's Angry and I'll get her booked. I'll reach out to Tim Job and get him booked. Jamie, you're gonna reach out to Trevor for their current list of businesses and stuff that they reached out to for donations. We've got the beer money, so we know that. Jamie, you're gonna reach out to your neighbor about the tent rental. I'm gonna talk to Dan and see if I can get the last invoice from Fund before the 4th, and then I'll let you know what those specs are, so we can start making those calls. I'll see if I can get a contact for Eric Armstrong and get a little bit more detail from him, to see if he's still interested. The parade will continue that in future meetings. Dunk tank will fundraise. We can start solidifying that plan and start putting a list of names together and start reaching out to people and see if they'd be interested in committing to sitting in the dunk tank, and we'll kind of iron some of that out. Porta potties, we'll talk to our DPW director about all of that. Advertising, Natalie, you're gonna handle the banners. We'll do our flyers and whatnot and social media advertising. Chris, you're gonna reach out to Michelle on the commemorative materials and see if she's got any ideas. And then craft fair, targeting about 20 vendors. We'll draw up the space a little bit. I'll share that with Michelle, and then I'll share that out to you guys so we can start getting that blasted out there.
And so if I summarized all of the dollar things that we talked about, I have about 24,000 in total expenses. And then on the income side, maybe. I mean, I rounded things to maybe 8,000 in income with stuff that we know about. So that's the craft fair stalls, it's alcohol sales. There's gonna be souvenir revenue and things like that, so. Call it 8 to 10K probably in income back out of the 24. Oh, and that doesn't include if we get a sponsor for the fireworks.
Yes, and that would be the big one, is trying to get a sponsor for the fireworks. All right. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Anyone come up with a name yet?
Yeah, oh yes, thank you for
I
circling
do
back.
still have a post-it note on my desk to reach out to Mrs. Kuharski and the high school principal about getting the schools involved. Well, it was on my desk and then it fell on the floor and then the dog shredded it, so I have to make it. So,
It'll be back.
it'll be back.
Oh, your dog shreds paper too?
She really likes post-it notes.
I know, so does Bucky.
Loves post-it
He
notes.
loves them.
So
Very
I will
tasty.
reach out to them. It is still on my list of things to do. It was off and now I'm putting it back.
Sounds good. All right, when do we feel we need to have another meeting at this point?
Early March. I think that gives time for the friends group to move and talk, for us to talk with them, and then we can.
Talk. Ours will be, for the Friends of Fredonia, that's gonna be March 5th. So.
The 6th, I'm sorry, March or February. That's a
We meet the first Tuesday.
Well, you said early March.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for this meeting.
So do we want to try and shoot for the later part of the week of the 4th? Or go into that following week?
Can we just meet before the board meeting on March 7th if you want?
Okay, does that Thursday, March 7th work for everybody around 6?
Should.
These single digit dates and times are really. I'm mixing them up. Okay. Does anybody have ideas for names at this point? If not, we can reconvene and try and brainstorm some additional ones.
I was trying to think of a shorten that. That's a lot of information I have to put in.
And
How can it be?
does it need to be a creative name? I mean, why couldn't it just be 150 Celebration of Fredonia? Brought to you by Washington State.
150 celebration and holiday and freedom holiday.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be, if that's,
Like, whatever it is, I mean, it's obviously gonna just be simple and clear and to the point, people know it. So,
Mhm.
150th anniversary celebration of Fredonia.
Just so long.
It is Fredonia's 150th anniversary.
Somewhere on there, it's gonna say Fredonia. We don't have to include it in the title, right?
Okay.
Yeah, maybe if you put some sort of logo that connects with the village. Our logo. Yeah,
I mean, we probably use.
so there you go.
Yeah.
So you don't have to say Fredonia.
150th celebration.
Do you, I mean, I know we had talked about keeping the date the same for the fun before the 4th, but do you want to keep that? I mean, I know we're trying to shorten it, but do you want to keep it as a fun before the 4th, or we're getting rid of that this year because it's the 150th?
I think we kill it because it's the 150th. Okay. Does everybody else concur?
Otherwise, that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of
A
work.
lot of apps. And there's gonna be
But
big
it's-
expectations for the next one before the 4th.
That's a good point.
Because people will think, oh, we're gonna get like
Yeah.
almost
Sure,
an
it's
hour
over
and
here.
15 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
that's never been
Yeah.
consistently.
Maybe another 50 years.
Another 50 years, I'll be
Stop it.
I'll be in the dirt. I don't think I'll make it to 100.
You with the time capsule?
I will be with the
Yeah.
time capsule.
Wait, in the time. capsule.
All right, anything else? All right. Items for future consideration, anything anybody wants to put on the agenda for our next meeting in particular? That we haven't discussed? All right. Next is adjournment.
Do you need a motion? I will motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Good talk, good talk. Lauren, I need to talk to you actually.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, do you wanna get together